Good morning. It is week 6, the final week of the Orchard in Bloom Quilt Along. I am Andrea with Happy Cloud Creations. I'm just jumping on to do the last check-in, see if there's any questions regarding finishing your quilts. This was a pretty quick quilt along because I only have 2 more weeks until school starts, which means I go back to work. I work at my daughter's school, so not much time left. I didn't quite finish all my blocks. They're almost done. They're pinned and ready for those last 2 seams. I have about, I don't know, maybe half of them finished. So I decided to go with the 2 main colors with background fabric. I really like how it's a little different than the first quilt I made. It kind of makes it look like one big flower. So you can change it up. Like if you want to make multiple of the same quilt, you can do different layouts each time and it looks like a totally different quilt. Right? So it's kind of scrappy. I used fat quarters and half-yard cuts that I had in my stash. I had bought in a bunch of floral, like 12 floral and color prints from Stash Fabric when they were having a sale like 2 years ago. And I finally am using them, which makes me happy to use stuff from my stash. So finishing our quilt starts on page, let's see what page. My pattern, I did not put it back in my envelope correctly. So on page 4, making our quilt top. And so for each size, it's basically, you just lay them out evenly. For baby size is 3x4 blocks. Throw size is 4x5 blocks, which means 4 across, 5 down. Full is 5 across, 6 down. Queen is 6 across, 7 down. And king is 7x7. If you would like a smaller king size than I have, so my king size is 112 by 112. You could always do the queen and add a border to that to make it the exact size that you want. And when we're sewing these together, so the whole reason I have arrows in my diagrams is to help the blocks nest together nicely. So when you're sewing this block together, this one we had us press them out, and then when you sew the 3 rows together, you're pressing them in, right? So then when we're sewing 2 together, we will match the ones up that are going in and match the ones up that are going out. And we'll put those 2 together so that those 2 seams will like nest, see? They will just kind of butt right up to each other and it'll pin nicely together. So what I'm going to do, I haven't finished. Once I finish all my blocks, I'm going to find a flat surface in my house, either my bed or in my living room, and like lay them all out. That way I can get the design layout that I want, since they're not all exactly the same block. If you have all the exact same block, it'd be, you just take them to your machine and start sewing them together. But I want to make sure it's evenly color distributed. So I'm going to lay them out and then I'll decide the placement I want and then I'll sew those together. I was like looking through my stash to see if I had enough fabric for backing, and I don't have any of these specific prints. When I originally bought them, I just grabbed a 2-yard cut of one of the florals, thinking that I would make a baby size quilt. But typically baby size quilts end up being only 9 fat quarters, but I bought 12. And I really wanted to use all of them. So the 2 yards is not quite enough for the backing fabric. So, where is it? I actually have a fitted sheet. So I bought a sheet set from Target. It's 100% cotton. I used the flat sheet for a large throw size quilt. I think it was like either my Starlight Meadows Starlight Mountains quilts, the really scrappy one, or it was my Blooming Backyard. But I thought this is tons of colors. This would go good for the background. And since it's a fitted sheet, it's a little smaller than the flat sheet. But since this is just a lap size, which is what? My lap size is 48 by 64. This should be plenty of fabric. And I can cut it and make it fit. That's going to be my backing fabric. And then I think either I will go with, might go with this, or I might go and find all the scraps of the blocks and do a scrappy binding. I'm not sure. Either this or scrappy binding. This is just a black and white print by, who is it by? It's called Paisley Place, Diane June, Wilmington Prints. Beyond the Bolt was having a closing shop sale, so I bought a bunch of this. I have a couple yards of it, so I thought, okay, I can use that for the binding. I really like how black and white, either stripe binding or check binding, looks on quilts. My original one, I just took one of the solid navies, or I think it might be Windsor for this one, and I did a black and white backing. I really like doing black and white backings with when you have a lot of solids on the front. They kind of just go really good together. So once you have your quilt top done, you've picked out your backing and you press it. Get your batting. I'm not sure which batting I'm going to use. I have, I think I bought a Warm, it's called Warm from Warm and Natural, and then a Quilter's Dream I wanted to test out. Or I'm going to use scraps of ones that I have. I have a bunch of Warm and White scraps, I think, and a bunch of Warm and Plush scraps. I'm not sure which one I'll use yet. I'll see if I have enough of one of those. If not, I'll try one of the new battings that I got that I've never tried before. I'm kind of nervous. But it should be okay. And then I'm going to use spray based. I wonder where I put it. Oh, right here. So the last time I went to Joann's, they didn't have any of the 505, which I usually get 505 basting spray from them. And they didn't have any, so I don't know if they're just not stocking it anymore or they were just sold out that day. So I got this spray adhesive from Dritz, D-R-I-T-Z. And I used this for my last quilt. It worked pretty good. It wasn't too sticky. There wasn't a lot of overspray. I actually used it for this one, and I basted it on my table. My mom, she said the last quilt she did, she basted it on her table with pool noodles. And so I just tried basting it on my table, just laying it flat. My dinner, I'm using my old dinner table in my sewing room right now. And I was able to baste it with this, and it worked really good. So I'm going to try that again with this. I might need to buy some more. I'm not sure how much is left in here. It might be able to do another lap. And let's see. So baste it together. If you don't like using spray based, you can also pin baste it. I like to measure and pin baste like the width of my hand all on it. I just prefer spray based. It's a lot faster, and so that's why I usually use it. But I know some people have allergies, so they can't use it. Sometimes you can go to a long armor and they can baste it for you for a small charge, or you can just get your whole quilt long armed. I'm really hoping to get my king size quilt, my Infinite Night Helix one that I still need to finish, long armed because it's a king size. And one, I don't know where I'm going to baste it in this house. And two, I just feel like that would be a beast going through my machine. So once you've basted it, you got to choose how to quilt it. So for mine, I went with just a really basic diagonal crosshatch. And I took my hair marker and my ruler. And I just measured in the middle of each block. And then kind of a middle of this quadrant as well. So this batting I used, I think it was Warm and White. You can quilt up to 10 inches apart. So this will be plenty quilted enough for it to be stable. So you want to make sure to check your batting to see how far apart your quilting has to be. So if it says 10 inches, you can do it smaller than that. You just don't want to go bigger than 10 inches apart, right? And so then once it's quilted, you got to bind it. So in my latest blog post, I do put a couple basting tutorials linked in there. I think one's from Quilty Love. And then I also do a couple quilting tutorials linked to them. Since I don't have all these tutorials, there are many great creators out here and quilters. So I've linked to them in my last blog post of their tutorials of basting, quilting, and binding. Susie Quilts, I love her binding method. And if you're not following those creators already, which I'm sure you are, follow them too, because they have great quilt patterns and designs. And it's just a big wealth of information on social media, quilting wise. So I'm hoping to quilt it the same, my next one. And hopefully I can do that before school starts. I got 2 weeks. My son went and checked out high school yesterday. And next week I got a professional development day at school. So I might actually have to go in next week one day. But I think I can do it. I think I can finish this. I think I only have like, I keep poking myself. This many to finish blocks. And then they'll go together pretty quickly. So make sure to keep posting your progress photos in the Facebook Quilt Along group and on Instagram with the hashtag Orchard in Bloom QAL. The pattern will be 10% off through next Tuesday. And I just want to see all your pictures. Make sure to post them. And if you don't get it done by next week, that's fine too. Just keep posting pictures. The Facebook group, we don't have a next Quilt Along date set. So you just can keep posting your pictures over there as much as you want. And it's not like I'm going to block them or anything. I'd love to see them. So I hope you guys have a great day. And I will talk to you later. Bye.